Recording! Oh, good.
Yep.
It's working, finally.
Yes.
We're back, everyone, for another week.
Back.
Yes, we are here. Girl, you gonna do the intro?
Huh?
Hello?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What you mean? Oh, yeah. Welcome to Two Black Girls, One Rose.
Really, Justine?
Hey.
Where two black-ass girls invade the whitest show on earth, The Bachelorette.
The Bachelorette.
I'm Natasha.
And I'm Justine.
And we just watched Thailand Fantasy Suites, y'all. Woo. Going down. Battle of the D.
Battle of the
We already
D.
picked.
That
I know
vitamin
we
D.
picked this title from last week, so I'm very excited to. I just wanted to use this phrase for something. It's the Battle of the D. This is a very exciting episode, guys. We have our contest winner, Kiarra. She's gonna be on the podcast in just a little bit. But first, we really just wanted to say thank you to everybody who entered the contest. My gosh.
Yeah. We got some really great reviews on both Facebook and
Yeah,
iTunes.
it was just so nice to read all of them. Just gives us good. I know we say this all the time, but like y'all don't understand. Like this is fun, but it's work. We don't get paid. We're doing this because it's fun. And so for people to write how amazing it is and thank you guys for doing this and y'all are so funny, it just gives us like fuel to keep doing it. So so appreciate it, and we're excited to talk to one of you guys later, Kiarra, to have her on the podcast. So for those of you who were trifling and did not already leave us a review, rate, review, subscribe. Steve was looking at me like, bitch, what are you about to say? Rate, review, subscribe. If you missed the memo
Please
for the
do.
last 6 months, thank you very much. Also, hit us up on Twitter. Our Twitter is live. It is a good time.
It is. It's like a little party that we have.
I've really gotten into polls, like that poll feature. You noticed?
You have gotten into the polls.
Really
I've
gotten
been
into-
refreshing my feed, and I'm like, are we?
That's me, girl.
What is the question?
That's me.
So also email us at the number 2 blackgirls, the number 1 rose at gmail.com. We love getting your emails and reading them on our commutes. They're really good and long and juicy. So shoot us over an email.
Yeah. And Facebook always. Just search 2 Black Girls, 1 Rose on Facebook. We're there too. Okay, so before we bring Kiarra on, we do want to go first into our church announcements. Yay. Whip out your programs. Got some good emails this week.
We did.
What do we have, Justine?
So this week, Lauren A. Shout out to Lauren A. and Deandra, who both emailed us some good long emails with some deep analysis theses.
Straight dissertations. Oh my gosh.
About this season. We love hearing your guys' hot takes again. So thank you so much. And Deandra, we see you on Twitter too, girl. Hey,
Yes, we see Deandra. She's heavy on Twitter.
Shout out to Lauren B. We have a good Lauren B to shout out finally.
Yes. No Becky of the weeks here.
No Becky of the week. Who is a mental health counselor in Knoxville, Tennessee. So you are doing the Lord's work. So thank you, Lauren. And she emailed us some really interesting points about virginity and how easy it is to be a virgin when everybody else around you is a virgin. Which is something that I don't know anything about.
But with Colton's surrounded by dudes in a locker room and nobody else is virgin, so.
Right. Which, we don't know that for sure.
Well, true, we don't know that because he was lying to everybody.
He was lying too. There's also has been one gay out football player, and there's like 82 niggas on a team. So
Right, very good point. Yep. Good point. So we don't actually know. But,
we don't actually know.
But true, if Colton was surrounded by more, out and open virgins, it'd probably be a lot easier of an experience for him. But obviously not.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. So that was a really interesting thing, and she's also in the South. So next shout out goes to Jennifer, who emailed us about Tia and Colton, which you guys also hit us up on Twitter a lot about Tia and Colton this week.
Jennifer does not fuck with Tia.
Not at all.
Her email was really... Yeah, she was not into Tia, not one bit.
Yeah, she's not happy about Tia.
I had some thoughts on this email. So, Jennifer has some very choice words for Tia and how Tia came back and confessed her feelings for Becca and she didn't think it was right, blah, blah, blah. So, I agree. Tia's not my favorite person, but I stand by the fact that, as I said last week, what she did was shitty. The whole situation was shitty for everybody involved. But I can get why she did it. Because imagine, like, how hard it is if you're watching your friend date someone that you have feelings for. And what makes it even worse is Colton's not the only one. He's one of 4. And so there's a good chance, there's still a sliver of a chance for you. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, there's a 75% chance for you.
Yeah, there's a huge chance that you can still get in there. And so it'd be one thing if Colton was like the one and the only one, then I'd be like, you know what, shut your mouth, Tia, don't say shit.
Right.
But the fact that there might still even be a little bit of hope there. I also had a little, I want to know your thoughts on this.
Okay.
I'm wondering, Becca, for Tia to come there and do all of that, I'm wondering if Becca, when she was telling the girls about each of the guys, you know, when I'm this hometown, that hometown, like giving the recap, Becca must have put some feelers out there, some indication that Colton wasn't the one. And so maybe that gave Tia, like, a feeling like, oh, maybe this is my chance, I should say something to her.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because imagine if Becca came out guns blazing, like, I went on 4 hometowns, but Colton though, and like you saw a twinkle in her eye, then Tia would probably sit in her chair and be like, fuck, I can't say shit, because she's like actually legitimately in love with this dude. But maybe maybe Tia got a little hint like, it doesn't sound like Colton's the front runner. Let me solidify that he's not the front runner. And let me say my 2 cents real quick.
Yep.
So that's what I may be thinking. I don't know. I think Tia, she spoke her truth. Was it selfish? 100% it was selfish. But what's even worse is living with feelings of regret, living with feelings of regret, living with like the what if I hadn't said, what if this, what if that. Like the whole situation's shitty, but like I'm always gonna stand for somebody who wants to live in their truth and speak their mind, and I don't know. I can't fault the girl.
No, me either.
Not too hard.
And also, we are sitting here talking about her. Everybody's still talking about Tia. And it's been a long time since Tia's been, like, on TV actually doing something on The Bachelor. So the fact that she's, like, still a fan favorite and still out here, she's, like, as we said past season, she's learned from Raven. You know what I mean? She's learned how to stay on TV.
Yeah.
So
but then does that make it more slimy
as
then?
Much as what?
But then, does this make it more slimy then? That you feel like she's here trying to make a name, or?
No, I don't think she's necessarily trying to make a name as much as she's trying to stay relevant so that she can, like, still be in Bachelor in Paradise, so she can still see him, so she can still have, number 1, a chance at love here, and number 2, a chance of, like, some Neutrogena sponsorships on Instagram.
That's slimy then.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But
oh no, the way you put that sounds slimy. So she's trying to still be out here shucking for sponsorships.
Yeah.
Like,
what?
Oh Lord, I hope that's not it. Because then if that's the case, then fuck Tia. Like that.
What?
I'm sitting here riding for her because I think she truly in her heart is speaking her truth and loves this man. And you out here like, girl, get your sponsorship. Like,
Get your sponsorship, girl. I wouldn't want to do physical therapy in Buckeye, Arizona either. Like, I wouldn't like, whatever.
Yeah. Oh Lord. But to do that at the expense of Becca and Colton and creating some drama, I hope that's not the ulterior motive.
I think we'll see on Bachelor in Paradise.
Jeez. I'm more romantic over here. Like, I hope she really is in love with this man.
No.
This made me think Anybody else out here a huge fan of Call Me by Your Name? Did you watch the movie, Justine?
Girl, you know I just learned the name of that movie recently.
Justine, you are the worst. So anybody else out there, I'm obsessed with Call Me by Your Name, the book, obsessed with the movie, just everything. One of the biggest themes in the book is the question of, is it better to speak or to die? They have a whole kind of thing about that. In terms of your feelings of love. Is it better to speak your truth, or to die without saying anything? Yeah. And then the book, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but in this moment, Tia chose to speak.
Yeah.
She could have died and not said anything, and then what would that get her? You know what I mean? So I don't know, I'm feeling very romantical right now. Yeah. So as much as Tia ain't my favorite person, I get it. I totally get it. Mm-hmm. Been there, didn't speak, and was suffering for it. Justine's like, yep.
No, but always speak. Even if you see if he's like next to you on the plane or the train or the bus, speak. Shoot your shot.
Easy.
Shoot your shot, man.
Easy. Yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. We'll discuss that maybe later.
Yes. Okay, anyway, so moving on from the Tia stuff.
Yes.
We do have some Bachelor Nation news. Okay, actually we're not moving away from Tia. So Colton did an interview with the Ashley I and Ben podcast. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mallory, who was the first to send us the link to it. Yeah. And a lot of people tweeted at us, did y'all see this? So definitely got to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So our man Colton did an interview where he gave his side of things. And I think he did this interview fresh after watching last week's episode, watching Tia come and reveal her feelings to Becca. And then Colton did the interview basically talking about what the fuck was happening. So his story, for those of you guys didn't watch or didn't listen to the interview, basically he applied for the Bachelorette before he knew anybody knew anything, before any of this. Applied for the Bachelorette. It sounds like they flew him out for casting. And in the casting, they asked him, like, who are your favorite girls? Yeah. And I think they showed him, like, a lineup of who the girls were. And he picked out Tia, Becca, and Lauren B. Okay. After that, he went back. He followed all of those girls on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And this was around the time when The Bachelor, Ari's season of The Bachelor was just starting to air. So this was before Tia had like 800,000 followers. So is at the time whenever
she noticed.
Yeah, so she notices when people are following her. So she obviously noticed that Colton followed her. She followed him back, and sooner at some point in time, Tia slid into his DMs. Is what he said. So it sounds like they were kikiing for a little bit, hitting it off, and then they decide to like meet up and have this like weekend ghetto. Did they meet before?
Listen, you all youngins are out here.
Really out here. You mean people off of Instagram going on weekend excursions?
Like if some guy was like, "Yeah, I'm an NFL player. I'm retired," I would immediately call Neve and Max immediately.
Neve and Max. Is this a catfish? What the hell? So these people are very trustworthy. So anyways, they arranged to have this weekend getaway. I think they said they were in LA. Yeah. And it sounds like they had fun. It was all kosher. They probably, he didn't say anything, but they maybe fooled around or whatever. I think they stayed in an Airbnb, separate rooms or something, he was saying. But Colton is saying that when he left the weekend, he left feeling kind of like, she's cute, but nah. Right. Like, and he was saying, like, it just didn't really make sense. He lives in Colorado, I think. Uh-huh. Yeah. Colorado. Yep. She's still in Arkansas. Oof. And there was just not as much of a connection there for them to take it beyond what the weekend was, in his opinion. So it sounds like after that, they still texted, like, for a little bit, a couple of weeks. He made it sound like it was very platonic.
How could it be?
Guys are dumb. They're so dumb.
Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. So he's saying it was platonic. They're texting for a couple of weeks. He claimed that he got casted for the show. He told her, and she wished him well, and, have fun, blah, 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 blah. But this is classic, like, girl stuff. Yeah. This is classic, like, you don't want to show your cards. You don't want to show how much you like him. So you're like, oh yeah, you're going on the show. Oh my god, that's great. Have a great time. But really, she's literally crying tears as she's typing that to him.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then he's dumb as shit. So he's like, oh yeah, this is a cool ass girl. Like, oh yeah, sure. See it, like, dude, and like goes off. Has no inkling of any feelings or anything that she's feeling on her end. Just totally in his brain, really, truly thought it was platonic.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid ass guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said last week, so he went off on the show, ain't thinking about her. He said last week, watching her confess her feelings to Becca, for like telling Becca I still have feelings for Colton after this weekend excursion where sounds like he just forgot all the way about her. He said watching, he was just completely blindsided.
Yeah,
and had no clue.
No idea.
No idea whatsoever. And he said, I was in love with Becca, and literally said, quote, I was not even thinking about Tia.
You know what? He didn't have to say all that.
He did not have to say all that. He really did not.
That's rude.
But, theory, the fact that he said that maybe makes me think that on Bachelor in Paradise, nothing happens between them.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have a little thing, but they don't leave Paradise together. Because if he's doing an interview right now talking about, like, Tia ain't shit, is basically what he's saying in so few words. He can't be dating Tia right now after Paradise. You know what I mean? So that was Colton's side of the story.
Yeah.
Him and Tia are on two different galaxies.
Well, it's just that you would think with all of this stuff that is like very much a fantasy, right? Like this guy messaged you on Instagram, he actually is the 6'4" NFL player, gorgeous, virgin, and then like he doesn't like you and you're stuck in Arkansas with like the one guy who you messed with, and your ex is like running around with some random blonde girl named Lauren. Like, it's too much. This is too close. I would like to think of this reality show stuff as like things work out a little bit easier, and they don't. It's the same.
Yeah, mess.
Not a fan.
Mess. Just mess.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens in Paradise. Between them. Also in his interview, he did a whole chat about virginity and, talking more about that. And honestly, hearing his side, again, defending his virginity, his decision, it kind of made me feel a little bad for even suggesting that he might have, like, anatomical...
So, what did he say?
He was saying, more of the same, that he just... he hasn't met the right girl, and he has always wanted to just have that moment with the right person, and like there was no deep explanation. Here's the thing, why I have to laugh when we think about this, because like as women, men ain't shit. We say men ain't shit. We know men ain't shit. And so finally, when we meet a man who like seems seemingly okay, we're like, nah, this ain't right. This ain't right. What's the story? He ain't shit. This can't be true.
Like, it can't be, though. This seems very odd to me.
It does seem very odd. Like, of course, it's for a man this damn good looking and who is an NFL player with girls everywhere, and his explanation that he's just been so consumed with football and that's why he's remained a virgin. It just seems... It seems odd. I get it. It seems odd.
And you're retired now. So what do you mean you're so consumed with football? Now what are you consumed with?
Yeah.
You have time now. What you mean?
I know. But maybe he's a unicorn.
And you flew Tia out to LA for the weekend. I don't understand this. This is very odd to me, and I'm not believing it. I'm not for it. But you know...
I'm trying to have some optimism. And that maybe there are some... decent men out there who really have some strong ass values, and strong like convictions, and just decide, look, I'm waiting for the right woman. Women do it all the time. Who's to say that there aren't guys out there? So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Next little piece of Bachelor Nation news. So last week we're tired of Garrett bashing his ex-wife, and we're like, what is, like, can we hear the other side, or a little bit of the other side? So Life and Style, true journalism here.
Not fake news at all.
Not fake news at all, but it's something. Lifestyle allegedly did an interview with his ex-wife's friend, quote unquote, the source, who claimed, again, it's like he said, she said immediately. So the friend is saying that it was actually Garrett who changed after the wedding. He was the one that became disrespectful and cold, apparently, afterwards. And, he packed up his shit one day, left, filed for divorce, demanded half of her shit, and she ended up having to pay him.
Ooh.
Which is like, whew.
No.
What does Garrett do for a living? Because if you getting paid, that means the nigga's broke. Planting tomatoes. There's money in farming, though.
There is.
I mean, there could be. But what... Do you remember his occupation? What is it?
Medical sales rep.
Okay.
So he shouldn't need no money.
Could be a low season. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. Or maybe he was married to a boss bitch, but either way, she had to pay him, like, alimony or whatever.
Oof.
But yeah, I mean, the article wasn't that satisfying. It's very he said, she said. They're both accusing each other of the same exact thing. There's also some reports coming out alleging that she was cheating on him.
Cheating on him, yeah.
There's no clarity whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
I personally could not be Becca and get engaged to no man who's divorced, and I don't know the full story.
With all this mess.
All this mess.
Oh my God.
There's not a clear story from anyone. It's so much he said, she said.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to marry somebody who's divorced, he needs to be on good terms with that ex, they ended things like, what they call it, irreconcilable differences. Which is code for, like, he's fine, but we ain't kicking it anymore.
We're just not,
We're just... I feel like that's it. Like, all this other mess, I couldn't deal with this. I could not go into an engagement, and I don't know the full story of why you left your wife of 2 months. What happened?
That's the thing. It's the 2 months. That's 60 days. That kills it.
It kills it. Why you have to say 60 days?
Because I just have to clarify it's less than Kim Kardashian. Like, it was 60 days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Mm-mm. And then you can't help but start to side eye him. Like, he's claiming that she's just, like, this crazy bitch. But then, like, how'd you end up with this crazy... Like, what were you doing with this crazy bitch?
Weren't you with her for, like, 5 years? Like, didn't you grow up together and all this? Like,
so what's up with your judge of character? Like, just so many questions. There's no clarity here. I don't think Becca should accept no proposal from no man, and you don't know his story.
Yeah.
His full-on story of his last relationship. And not even his relationship, his last marriage. I need all of the answers. So, still mess, we still know what the fuck going on there. Last piece of Bachelor Nation news. Bachelor in Paradise, guys. It's coming up. It's coming up in 2 weeks. They released a second promo. And I went back and rewatched the first promo. And, I did my little recon work. I watched, I kept watching and stopping and watching and stopping to, pick up on things. Frame by frame. So there's some things I spotted. This is going to be spoiler alert, if you don't want to see or hear what I saw in the promo. Speed ahead 30 seconds. So I spotted Annalise on a date with Jordan. Mm-hmm. Kevin, the Canadian dude.
Oh, right. I forgot about Kevin, yeah.
Kissing, I think, Astrid? One of the brunette white girls from the next season. Chelsea, single mom Chelsea, kissing Nick, the white Josiah.
No. He can't support that baby too? Oh, God.
Which, by the way, how did we start calling him the white Josiah?
Because he was trying to sell them tracksuits for lawyers.
Because I went on his... I went on his Instagram, and I didn't see him trying to sell nothing. Where did we get that from, though? I couldn't even remember.
Because he was like, my thing is tracksuits, guys. I just love a tracksuit. I just love zipping it up.
Oh, and he did wear the... I forgot, he wore the tracksuit to the rose ceremony that time. Well, him and Chelsea, better sell a lot of tracksuits. You got 2 mouths to feed, my dude.
No, Chelsea, don't be an investor in this.
I know. I wish he... ended up with someone else, but also we don't really know this guy, so we'll see.
Yeah, who knows?
More of him. We saw Eric, your boo Eric.
I know.
Cozying up with Nisha.
I saw this.
Yep. So we'll
Might
see.
have some black love.
Some black love on Paradise. We'll see. And then in the second promo that came out, we see Tia. She's coming. She's saying she's here for Colton.
Mm-hmm.
We see grocery store Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Our shared husband.
Yeah, legit.
Like, you get him 3 days a week, I get him like every other day. Like, our shared husband. Him and Kendall.
Yeah, I'm still meditating on this personally.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. Kendall's pleasant, she's just boring to me.
Yeah, right. Harmless.
Harmless, but this is not who I pictured for, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Chris R, Gospel Chris, being jealous and acting crazy already. God.
I don't know what he wants out of this.
Yeah. He's said something about how he's feeling jealous. I don't know who he's talking about, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Annalise doing what Annalise does. A whole lot of crying.
Sobbing.
Classic Annalise. And yeah, so that was Bachelor in Paradise. That'll be in 2 weeks. Very exciting. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to fully dissect all of that mess that is to come.
Yeah.
And that's it. Should we call up our girl?
Let's call Kiarra.
Let's call Kiarra. Let's bring out our contest winner on the show. All right, so we have Kiarra here, everybody, our winner of our contest. Hey, Kiarra.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good. So excited to have you on here.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for picking me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for choosing me. I'm so excited.
Oh.
We love you too.
So where are you calling us from?
So I am calling from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
A Southern girl. We talk a lot of shit about the South, so
Mm-hmm.
you don't hate us too much.
Well, that's fine, because I'm from Pennsylvania anyway.
Oh, okay. So
Nice.
actually a Northern girl. Good. So we've reclaimed you.
Yeah.
Well, so what are you doing in North Carolina?
Yeah, no, I came down here to go to school, and then after I graduated, I moved down to Houston for a year, and then I moved back because Bay was here, and we just got married last month, so we're pretty much settling here for a little bit.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. He also told me to tell y'all hi, because he always listens to me listening to y'all, so.
Tell your hubby that we said hey.
Hey, husband.
I will.
So how long have you been watching The Bachelor?
So I actually started watching it like way in the beginning when it premiered. I was like little, maybe like 9-10 years old. I remember sitting there watching like Tristan's season with my grandma. And then I didn't watch for a very long time. I picked it back up Caitlin's season, even though I wanted Britt to be the Bachelorette, but whatever. Watched Caitlin's season, got like all into it again. And then I couldn't watch Ben and JoJo's season just because of the craziness of senior year. Then hop right back in Rachel's, and then like full steam ahead.
Oh wow, so we got you right on back. That's exciting.
Actually, I always call myself like the little Rachel because we're both in Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated. We both studied sports management in school. Like there's like a lot of similarities between me and her, so I always call myself like little Rachel.
Aww,
That's cute.
And see, Bachelor
I love
producers, or who, if anybody's watching this is why it's important. Representation.
Representation.
Look
Yep.
at Kiarra here. She found herself in Rachel. Come on, y'all. Anyways, get off my soapbox.
So we'd love to know what your overall thoughts are for Becca's season.
Boring. Absolutely, positively boring. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, I don't feel any emotional investment in this season at all.
Really?
At all. Like, I feel like it's worse than Ari's season. I know everyone was bashing Ari's season about how boring it was. I was actually really, really invested in Ari's season.
Really? Why so? Like, were you tied to, like, did you feel connected to some of the girls?
The girls?
What's the difference?
Yeah, I think that's really what it was. Like, I just felt really connected to some of the girls, a lot of the girls on the season. So it made it a little easier to bear with him. But, like, this season, I can't connect with the guys at all. And Becca was cool, but I didn't really feel like a an attachment to her during The Bachelor. So it was like I was really watching, just to continue to watch and hopefully, see her be redeemed and have the love story she wants. But I really didn't feel close to her, so I think that also made it harder. But I've seen, like, through this season, Becca kind of reminds me of some of the girls I went to high school with. Like, she's kind of like the white girl who kind of fetishes and likes black men, but ultimately will marry a Make America Great Again type of guy.
Ooh,
that's
Lord.
Like the vibe I get from her.
Yep.
Oh my.
Similar sentiments, and that I don't really feel connected to Becca, to be honest. I'm like kind of enjoying the season because the guys, I think, some of the guys I enjoy. I like some of the mess that's happening. But Becca, I can see that, because I mean, we see the final two guys that she has. Garrett, who's literally he's literally a walking MAGA hat, and Blake, who I love, but Blake is like literally, America's boy next door.
Yeah.
So Will's John Blanc, they ain't never had a shot.
I mean, I feel like because you remember how she played up her big like crush on Michael Strahan. And
yeah, she did.
All of that. So I feel like she's the type that would date like the athletic black guys in high school because she could, but she ultimately would be with someone on the complete opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah. And I could see feeling that way too if I had like a real life husband. Like, I'm watching this show, like, I don't have any romance in my life, so this is, like, feeding that part of me. But if I had a real-life husband, I'd probably be like, ugh, this is whatever.
Yeah. Are there any contestants on the show this season that you did really like? Any of the guys you were like, oh, he's cute, or he's funny?
Yes, so I loved Clay. I thought he was such a sweetheart. I was so upset when we went home. And I like Blake. I mean, I liked Blake when he came on after the final rose. I liked him. I thought he was really cool. I didn't think that Becca would like him as much as she does from that. But I liked him. I thought he was sweet. But I'm sorry, my favorite guy was Colton. Yes, I do.
Yes, Kiarra. See, this is why I like you. Already.
He's everything you said?
I love him. Yes, he's literally everything.
See?
And then Will. I liked Will too.
Yeah.
But I didn't get everyone's fascination with him. I just thought he was a cool dude. Like, he wasn't like an Eric to me, like a real poppin' black guy.
Oh.
But he was cool.
No, he was no Eric. But yeah.
So let's dig into tonight's episode. So as you know, at the top of every episode, Justine and I always share our initial thoughts. So, we just watched the Fantasy Suites episode. So, Kiarra, what were your initial thoughts of this episode?
My initial thoughts were, it just felt so awkward during Blake's date. Like, did y'all feel that awkwardness, or was that just me?
Awkward.
That's just you, girl.
Yeah, what?
What?
Yeah, because I felt that Becca wasn't fully there with him.
With Blake?
So, it's like, yeah, I feel like Blake doesn't give her the rush that Garrett gives her.
Really?
So it was almost like I could tell how much Blake is in love with her, but I could see it in the back of Becca's eyes that, like, she loves him, but he doesn't give her the whatever it is that Garrett gives her. It's almost like, for example, how she was Ari's safe choice. Like, Ari loved her, but he didn't have that glisten in his eyes for her that he has for Lauren. That's what I saw today with her with Blake. She loves him, but it's just she doesn't have that glisten to me like she does with Garrett in her eyes. It's almost like Blake's like her safe choice. And then another thought that I had was unless I missed it, there was no run, jump, hug to Jason. Or am I making that up?
Oh, girl, no.
She barely got out of bed to go to Jason.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I thought I was making that up, and then someone else tweeted that they think they didn't see it too, and I was like, okay, maybe not. And then also with Jason's date, the great time that she always talks about is just so friend zone language. Every time she says, we had such a great time, to me that's just code for, like, he's a real cool bro. Like, we can chill. And that's all I get from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, also with Jason coming back, I was wondering if that was his Bachelor edit. Those were all my initial thoughts.
Interesting. So let me share my initial thoughts, because I feel the exact opposite about what you said about how Blake, you don't see the twinkle in her eye for Blake. I think it's the opposite, actually. I feel like she is fully there for Blake and doesn't have that twinkle. Like, she loves Garrett, but doesn't have that same twinkle. So my initial thoughts on the episode is, I love Garrett. I almost said Garrett. I love Blake. I think Blake is everything. He almost is right up there, rivaling, whatever the fuck that word is, my feelings for Peter.
Whoa.
Really?
Major, I know. Let me explain. Blake, to me, he just feels solid. Like, I feel safe when I'm watching Blake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have to say, watching tonight's episode, this was the first time where I thought back to Peter and Rachel, and I started to kind of understand how she just didn't feel confident in Peter. And Peter kept saying, give it a chance. Like, even though he told her he wasn't getting down on one knee, he's like, give it a chance. We could still maybe do this. And Rachel was just like, nah, like, I just don't feel confident in him. And watching Blake, there's something about Blake to me that just feels so, like, trustworthy. He feels just so pure and genuine, and, like, he's 100% all the way in for Becca. And it feels genuine. It's not just, like, words. Like, it feels genuine in a way that Peter, as much as I love Peter, he was lacking that little, that, like, pureness.
Yeah.
And so I totally get why Rachel had doubts. And with Blake, I don't have any doubts. I'm Team Blake heavy.
Yeah.
I'm really side-eyeing Becca that she has this man standing up there next to fucking Garrett. Like, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. But, so yeah, that's interesting that you said that you didn't really see that twinkle in her eye for Blake, but you saw it for Garrett, because I saw it the other way. What about you, Justine?
So I thought about Blake's date that it was really interesting how she tested him with the physicality of their relationship. Because
that was interesting.
Right? Because she has always really, I think, been confident in their conversation and really been physically attracted to Garrett. So I don't know why she didn't give Garrett that date and talk to him more versus giving Blake the date, and she knows that they agree on, like, the 4 pillars of their relationship and all the rest of that stuff that they were talking about with the monk. But she's not sure about that with Garrett, so I don't know why she didn't give him that date. I thought that was really weird. Similar to how Peter was tested with Rachel all the time. But with Peter, it was worse. That was terrible. But also, really, I had, like, a lot of different up and downs this episode. This episode had me on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. I think because she's more emotionally invested in these guys than anyone that I've seen on The Bachelor so far. And maybe she just wears her heart on her sleeve, but I really see that the emotions are there. So those are my initial thoughts. So what is, because we have this every week, we have our 3 moments, right? If we can find them.
Yes.
What is your get me to Wakanda moment for the week?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess the producers did crazy, like, juxtaposition or whatever, but when Jason said in his confessional our relationship went to the next level, oh my gosh, it was so awkward. And I hate awkward TV moments, so I literally just wanted to change the channel and not hear him speak anymore, because your relationship literally did not go to the next level.
Yeah, that was, like, definition awkward. Lord.
I just wanted to run. I wanted to run away from the TV because he was just going and going and oozing, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, it was so cringe. Yeah, he was really gushing and laying his whole heart out there, and I think all of America watching it back home, we were like, nah, Jason, no, it's not it. It was so bad.
It was so bad.
Now, did you have so Justine and I have been struggling these last couple of weeks with picking a Becca UII moment. Did you find one this episode?
Okay, so I was struggling, like, really hardcore as well. I think the closest thing I got to it, I kind of had two, was just her, like, being really honest with herself about not being there with Jason and not even, like, dragging him on any longer. I thought that was really, like, mature of her to not do that and not waste her time. And also just not saying I love you to Blake and Garrett the way Ari did. I think that was really important. Although she's not giving them the validation they really want, I think it was just necessary because of the problems that it caused before.
Yeah, I think that might be my moment later. I'm trying to look through my notes, but I agree.
Yep, me too.
I really stood by Becca in that moment because I know it's so hard for her not to say I love you to these people, especially when they're saying it all the time, and she's having all these, feeling a lot of emotions and a lot of up and down, and you just want to give that guy the validation, but the fact that she's not saying it, kind of got to give her credit because past people have been telling everybody they love everybody. And it obviously doesn't bode well in the end.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
Did you have a nigga you ain't shit award?
Yes. It is going to Becca. She's killing me. Yes. Poor Blake. He's sitting there going crazy, all in his head. Like, I don't know, like, what she has. Does she have what I have? And she's literally just staring at him in the face, like, yeah. You're literally doing exactly what he's scared that you're doing. And you're just sitting there with a straight face like nothing's going on. It really made me feel like niggas who, like, you tell them that you like them and you have all these feelings for them and blah, 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 but they're really, like, just playing you and they're just letting you pour your entire heart out and they're just kind of like, yeah, I feel you, da-da-da-da, doing exactly what you're scared that they're doing. And so I felt like Becca was doing that, like, everything that Blake was scared for and all his insecurities, they're true. She has those feelings for Garrett, but she's sitting there just looking at him all doe-eyed and everything like that, like it's not even true.
Yeah, and what was making it weird too was she was trying to reassure him, or like her way of making him feel better was by saying, oh, well, last year with Ari, I felt the same way. Like, almost like she's trying to commiserate with him, but it's like, this isn't helping him feel any better with his current situation.
And speaking of Ari, I tweeted this. I was like, I feel like Becca has said Ari's name more than she has said anybody else's name on her season. If there was a word count, I feel like she said Ari's name.
Wow. I wonder if anyone's done a word count. I would love to know.
Oh, yeah, I would love that, too.
Particularly in this episode, Ari's name came up a lot.
There was a rumor that he was going to be on this episode.
No, in Thailand? Oh my God. No.
Yeah, there was a rumor. It was like a strong rumor.
I can't.
It's one of these last episodes apparently that he's going to be on there, and Lauren's going to be there, but she's not going to be on camera or whatever.
I mean, she gotta,
like everywhere.
She got to follow his ass around, so I mean, that's a plausible rumor, but.
God.
Oh my God.
I don't want to see that one come true.
No,
that sounds stupid.
Not at all. And speaking of rumors, what are your predictions for the remainder of the season? And if you have any spoilers or read anything, don't say them. But do you have any predictions?
Who do you think is gonna win?
Like I said before, like I think Garrett gives her some type of sparkle in her eye that Blake doesn't give her. So I really think she's gonna unfortunately pick Jared Kushner Jr.
No.
I really don't want her to, but I really think she's gonna pick him. It's just something that I see when she's with him, and plus he kind of looks like Ross. So
He absolutely does look like Ross.
It's the type of guy I think Garrett is. I'm pretty sure she's gonna choose him.
Oh God. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Jeez. We have to wait 2 weeks.
But I don't think Blake is going to be the Bachelor, though.
Who's your choice? Who's your choice for the next Bachelor? And who do you think they're going to choose for the next Bachelor?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Okay. So I have... my choice, don't shoot me, but I'm pretty sure my choice is Colton, even though he's going to be on Paradise, because Nick was on Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's going to be Colton, just because he's like the gold mine. Like, personality, you know, following, his foundation, you know, the whole virgin thing, whatever. They'll try to make him into, like, Sean 2.0 or whatever. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be Colton, because I just feel like Blake is going to be devastated. Like, I don't think he can turn around that quickly. And Jason, although he's like a real cool guy, but I don't see him like carrying a season. I really feel like it could only be Colton to do it. He's had the media frenzy, you know, all that crap. So I think it's gonna be him. And I went.
Yeah, totally agree. Jason can't carry a season, and Colton. I mean, ABC would be so hyped to have a virgin bachelor.
Yeah,
like,
a real one.
Ratings would just shoot through the roof. He's an NFL player. He'll get a whole bunch of, you know, a huge viewership among men, I guess.
NFL following,
Yeah, and just the fact that he's a bachelor and he's a known virgin, like oh my God, this is like huge for them. Oh yeah. But Kiarra, this has been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yay! Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome. I listen to you every week.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. We're excited for you to be our first fan, I guess.
I don't like calling you guys fans. That's weird.
No, I'm definitely a fan.
Viewer?
Listener?
Viewer guest? Something.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Thank you for coming on and sharing your insights and giving us another little perspective. It was really, really exciting.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys more.
See you on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, girl.
Yes, see you on Twitter.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So Kiarra was cute. It was so cool to talk to her, but we need to jump right into this recap. I'm excited now to talk about the episode, so let's just go straight into it.
Let's go.
We are in Chiang Mai, Thailand, which I'm very excited about. Love Thailand. And Becca said, by far one of the most romantic places I've ever been. They say this about every place they go to. You notice this?
Every single place.
From Virginia.
I guess because the places are like...
from Virginia to Chiang Mai.
Yeah. Utah. Park City, Utah.
Everywhere. So they're staying, or Becca at least, she's staying at the Shangri-La. Very fancy. Loved this dress that she had on, this first dress. It was like a colorful wrap thing going on there. It's beautiful. And so this is Fantasy Suites week, so this is like major week. And going into the week, she says that she's in love with 2 men and falling in love with a third. Which
I left.
Just send that one home. Like, why are we here? Why is he here? Don't do this to this man. The one that you're falling for, just let him go. Just let him go. So she says, Garrett, I'm in love with Garrett, but can he always challenge me and push me? Whatever that means. With Jason, and Kiarra mentioned this as well. How with Jason, she always says these little things like, she said, feels like when I'm with him, feels like we're wild and crazy together. What? That's not even the word I would use to even describe Jason.
Nope. She made that up.
She made that up fresh on the spot. When they're together, I don't even feel this wild and crazy energy, so I don't even know where she's getting this from.
And girl, you just came from hometowns where I'm sure it was snowing. What was wild and crazy?
That. Oh my jeez. And then Blake. Now Blake, she goes off on a whole...
Oh my god.
A whole thing, which is why I had to...
An entire...
Huh?
Soliloquy.
A whole soliloquy. She said, I feel so 100% myself, and it's so effortless with him. There's something about the way he makes me feel that I can't describe. Can't imagine not having Blake in my life. Like, she wouldn't shut up. That's why I had to disagree with Kiarra, because I'm like, there's no way she doesn't say these same things about Garrett. She doesn't. It's Blake, it's always a whole long monologue about the feelings and how he's the one and everything. So, first up in the Fantasy Suites is Blake. Personally, I think going first is always the best for Fantasy Suites Week.
Okay, why do you think so? Because I think it's the worst.
Really? I think it's the best because you're gonna be the lasting impression. When she goes on the second and the third date,
true.
she's gonna always be thinking about the first. It's like your first love. You never forget your first love. It's like that kind of thing. Plus, if she's getting down in the fantasy suites, I don't want to be number 30. Ew, I want to be the first one. I don't want to come after other people's bodily fluids. Fuck that. So, being the first, that's got to be the best. You think it's the worst?
I would rather be last, personally. I would rather, like, show off all the tricks in the bag, if you know what I'm saying. And be the last one. Also, I would want to, like, refresh the guy's energy.
Refresh the guy's energy?
Makes no sense at all. None at all.
What?
I would just like to be the last one. I don't know. I've always liked to be the last girl at the party. That's, I don't know.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on the last one, though. You got to bring out all the stops. You have to be out. You got your performance on the date and in the bedroom has got to be out to other people before you.
Yeah, and you don't know what those people are, like, doing and stuff.
Right. You don't know what tricks they got in their bags. So, but anyways, so Blake is first up. They are so excited to see each other. It sounds like it's been a while. I don't know the time between hometowns.
It's like it's been like 4 days, but okay.
Right, but it feels like a lifetime, like one of those. So for their date, they're going hiking on the Monks Trail, which apparently, like, once you're on the trail, or once you pass the threshold, you're not allowed to kiss or touch or anything like that. I guess out of respect for culture, for the temple. And so they head up on this trail. At the end of the trail, they arrive at this temple, and they get to meet some monks. And they learn to, bow, receive a prayer. It was like a very culturally immersive date.
Yeah.
I really, really liked this.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really liked, especially for a date when you're trying to see if this person's going to be your husband or not, a date where you can't touch them. You got to do a lot of learning about up here in the mountain. Yeah. So.
That's true. They can't fall back on, let's just kiss. I don't want to go into a conversation. Let's just make out. You have to really just be with each other. And so when they get to the temple, they're with this monk or two monks who are teaching them, kind of giving them some wisdom about, what it takes to lead a successful, loving life and family. And talks about 4, like, main pillars: honesty, adaptation, patience, giving, and Blake and Becca are just eating this all up, and it's very fitting. It's a very trying journey that they're on, and so I feel like this is some, like, they needed this kind of, like, wisdom imparted on them. And so after they, are chilling with the monks, they then go and ring this bell 3 times. It symbolizes spreading their love to the world, yada yada. So Blake, Mr. Blake, has been going nuts this whole week. He's really, really going through it because he says, like, he knows that she feels strongly for him, but he's driving himself crazy wondering if she's acting the same way with all the other guys.
And if they have the same spark as her and
him. That same spark. Right. And, like, when you're in the house with, like, 15 guys, it's like, okay, whatever. But when it's down to the final 3, it's, like, very much in your face, like, oh shit. Is she full on acting this exact same way, lovey-dovey, looking me in the eyes, blushing, blah, 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 with the other guy that she's about to go to Fantasy Suites tomorrow? Yeah, so poor Blake is just all in his head.
I know, I felt bad.
It's time for the night portion of their dates. Blake he's saying a lot of things. He's really confused. Is she kissing and hugging and blushing the same way with the rest of them? And he says, he's very confident in how he feels. He says, I know that they don't love her the way that I do, but how does she feel about them? So he's just, he has no sense of where she stands as it relates to the other guys.
Right.
And so that's driving him crazy. So Becca, she tries to give him reassurance. She says, we're always moving forward. We've never taken a step back. And
True.
she's had little roadblocks and whatnot with Garrett and Jason, who's been hard to open up and stuff. And so, Blake, he's just still talking about his fears. He's saying, like, I'm more in love with you than I am with my ex. And starting to hit me, the feelings that you have for other guys. And then Becca, which this is going to start a theme for the rest of the season, for the rest of the episode, where she's like, yeah, well, I felt the same way last year with Ari.
Oh my god.
We seriously do need to get a word count on Ari this episode.
We have to.
He came up a lot, and she was using it as a way to, like, help the guys get through their tough times, but it's not helping me, Becca. I'm sorry.
No.
But yeah, so she's trying. I feel like she really wants to give Blake some validation, some reassurance. She is dying to say I love you, but she can't really do that. So what she said next, I think, was her way of saying that. She said, you have been the most solid and the most consistent. It almost scares me that it's too good to be true.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is her way of giving him some validation, saying to him that he's the most solid, the most consistent. That's almost the best validation that you can get at this time. She can't say I love you, but to be told you're the most solid, I would take that and run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's all you had, yeah. I mean, I would also be scared, as he was, that, like, I was just the safe one, and that would just be like, the kind of almost scared enough to mess it up myself.
Like self-sabotage?
Yep, to sabotage it.
Yeah, that's my worry with Blake, because this was the most insecure that we've seen him, and I was hoping that that insecurity wasn't going to just, like, overburden Becca and turn her off from him.
Right.
And so I was like, there's a fine line. Keep a balance, Blake. Keep a balance.
Yeah.
And I think he did a decent job. He did a lot of his did a lot of his venting, like, in the confessionals. He didn't do too much on her, which is good.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Becca, she says to him, in a week you may have to commit to me. You might have to get down on one knee. Does that scare you? Like, what are you feeling? And he says, I'm the kind of guy who looks for a reason to stay, not a reason to go.
Let me tell you something.
Can we get a slow clap? A slow clap for Blake.
This episode would have been done. What are we at? Like 30 minutes? This would have been finished.
Yeah.
What? That's all you need.
That's all you need.
But that's like, it's like scary almost that he's saying that. It can be almost frightening.
Because it's what every woman wants to hear from someone. Yep. And for him to say, and the way he said it with so much conviction and so confident. And for a man in this kind of crazy ass process, knowing that he has 2 other guys, and he knows her for 5 days, for him to say something with so much conviction, I'm the kind of guy to stay. I don't look for a reason to go, like that. I mean, I don't know what was going through her head at that moment, but I think that was a lot for her. Yeah, in a good way. Overwhelming, but in a good way. Like, that was some validation that. I mean, she doesn't need any validation or reassurance from him, but that was a solid line, Blake. That's all I can say. That was a solid line right there. So Becca, she's confident Blake would get down on one knee, like, today. Even despite all his fears, he is all the way in. And she says, he makes me feel things I've never felt in a relationship. In any relationship, she said. Again, she's saying all the things. Like, he's unbelievable. He's unlike any man I've ever met in my entire life and my lifetime to come. Like, she's saying so much. How do you then go on other dates with other people after this?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Okay. So they, fantasy suite card comes. Of course, they take it. They arrive at the fantasy suite, which was beautiful. Beautiful hotel room.
This was nice.
This was really nice. They hooked up my man Blake. And then, it's always a little awkward. We see them crawling on the bed together, and then the door closes. You see these little silhouettes, and you just know it's about to go down.
It's about to go down that vitamin D.
That 6'6" D, or whatever the hell tall fucking giant Blake is. It went down in that suite. I feel like Blake and Garrett, oh my god, Blake and Becca have such like an intense connection. That sex was on some deep spiritual shit that night.
It was. It was. It had to be.
I feel like they both had like some out of body experience, kind of. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was some next level stuff. And I feel like, and you know, we get into it with Jason's date, how her mind was all fucked up because I think she was really thinking about that spiritual connection that was happening that night before.
Absolutely. Yeah. They, especially because of the spiritual date they had that day.
Yes.
That'll do it, man.
That's true.
That will do it. And especially if they were talking at all about religion, which I would really like to know more about Blake and how he feels about religion, because I know she's like Christian hardcore, and I know he said pray before recently. Oh, really? You know? But I would like to know if they said that like during the whole month date, if that's what they were talking about, if they were exchanging Corinthians verses, you know,
exchanging psalms, like
yeah, all the love verses.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and that'll make it, oh my god, 10 times better.
Whew. Yeah, that's true. They did have the whole day was just like a theme of spirituality, so I feel like they were already on that like kind of wavelength. Yeah. So yeah, the morning after, Becca, she said, this morning I feel even more in love with him. And, you know, they're laying there having their pillow talk. Becca blatantly says, I don't want to go. Yep. Mind you, she has a date with Jason is literally downstairs waiting for her, and she's in bed saying, I don't want to go. Oh my god.
So embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
For Jason.
I know. This whole episode, I was like, I hope he's not watching this, because this was terrible.
I know. Yeah.
He looked really, like, just pitiful. It was really bad.
Yeah. Yep, pitiful's a good word.
Yeah. So, Blake, same thing. You know, I don't want this to be the last time I wake up next to you. Which is a very terrifying thought.
Yes, he really laid it out in a way that I was like, oh my god, that is true.
That is true.
Like, that would be their last night together. Their first and last night together.
First and last night you're waking up seeing her, and then the last time you ever do it. That's terrifying. So yeah, their goodbye was one of the longest goodbyes. They both did not want to say goodbye. They hugged and kissed and kissed and hugged and hugged and kissed and kissed and hugged and hugged and like it went on forever.
It was like they stigmatized each other.
Yeah, because it was on some spiritual shit. Yeah, that wasn't just sex. That was like some next level. They are connected now.
It's right. It's one of those things you communicate physically through the other person.
I really think so. And so, in this moment, Becca actually got my Becca UI moment. Oh. Because I feel like she really, really is holding strong on not telling him that she loves him.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that she's doing that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's fair. The past seasons of Ari telling everybody he loves them, and even Ben Higgins when he told JoJo and the other Lauren, I don't think you should do that. Even if you are feeling, cause Becca's saying she's in love with Blake and Garrett, you don't tell them. Reserve the I love you for the one person, because if you say it to multiple people, it just fucks up their whole brain. So I could tell in that moment she's like really struggling not to say it, and she held through the struggle, and Becca, you right for that.
And even Rachel told Peter she loved him during that breakup, got engaged within 12 hours to Brian.
Which, I mean, for Brian watching that back, that must be like horrific to see. So yeah, Becca's holding strong. I like it. So she leaves, and then pretty much for the next couple hours, Blake is just laid up in that confessional.
Oh my god!
In that tank top.
Having a
meltdown, talking. He's dissected every morsel of every moment, of every eye contact, of every glance, of every handheld, like everything. Just sitting there post up, just going through it.
Yeah.
What else is there to do at this point? At this point, they're not with the other guys. It's just they're off on their own in fucking padded rooms. With producers with cameras in their face, so that's all they can do is do these confessionals. Yikes.
And he cried a little bit. Is this where he cried? I think it's where he cried.
Probably. He
took his little shirt and he wiped his little eyes.
Oh. His little shirt and his little eyes. Oh.
Little cutie.
Cute little Blake. So next up, oh god, and this just feels wrong.
Oh my god, this whole thing
just felt so wrong.
God.
And next up is Jason. Lord Jesus. Now Jason is hype. Like he's so hype.
Excited.
So excited for this date.
So excited for the day. He's so excited to tap that ass later. He is so excited.
He already had his whole bag of tricks planned. Poor thing. Little did he know. So he's hyped. Becca, she's walking up. She's putting on a happy face, but the level of excitement she had when Blake was walking up, I mean,
oh my god, yeah.
For Jason, it's just not. This wasn't there. Just wasn't there,
No.
and it's so sad because he doesn't see this. He doesn't see the other looks of the other guys and things like that.
Yeah.
And so this whole episode just sounds delusional. It's really, really sad.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, Becca in her interview, same thing she always says about Jason. You know, he's a lot of fun. We're always having fun together. Then she went off on this weird tangent. You know, I love to travel. Even when I travel with my family, we like to try new things and new foods. Like, she really did. She went off rambling about pure nonsense.
About herself.
About herself and her family vacations. And, nothing about Jason. It was very, very odd.
Yeah.
So for their date, they're just spending time walking around, going to markets. They see some temples. They stop and eat some crickets, you know.
Did you eat crickets when you were there?
Sure did.
Oh my god, how were they? Were they chewy?
Just crunchy. It didn't taste like anything. Just a lot of crunch. It was almost like eating the tail of a shrimp, how it's like crunchy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it doesn't really have much taste.
Okay.
So yeah, they did all of that. Jason in the confessional. I found my best friend, my partner, and who I want to be my fiance.
Like, what?
I know.
Oh,
and with Jason,
God.
so yeah, I feel really bad for Jason's whole thing. I like Jason, I really do, but he kind of irks me. Like, he sounds scripted to me.
You think so?
I think so. And I don't know if because one of his, things is that he struggles to put things to words or whatever. So maybe he writes it down before he says it. He always just sounds scripted. I don't know.
Yeah, to me he sounds like he's super duper invested and deep into the fantasy, which is weird for a senior financial analyst.
Oh gosh.
So I don't know if he's like if his emotional side is taken over so much that it sounds like he's talking in fairy tales.
Yeah, I think so. I think all of this is new for him because he's a senior financial analyst. He talks a lot how he's like very much in his head. This is the first time he's following his heart. So I think he's just he's living in a fairy tale world and saying fairy tale things. I don't know.
Yep.
So then comes probably one of the most awkward moments of the episode, maybe the season.
Agreed.
So they're walking out of a temple. Becca, I don't know if I get this 100% right, but it sounds like Becca noticed some stonework and made a comment like, oh, I should get this for my house. And then, she says something like, yeah, for our condo in Seattle, because he lives in Seattle. So it's like she made a comment about something for her, and then she was like, oh, wait, our future. Like, let me say something about us. Yeah. So, for our condo in Seattle. Then, immediately, there was, like, a shift in the air.
Oh, my God. She, threw up in her mouth.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
It almost,
she, died.
Yeah, it's like the wind, as soon as she said it, it's like the wind got knocked out of her.
Yep.
And she even said in her little interview, she said, I said something about our future, and in that moment, I couldn't picture it, and I wanted to take back what I said right away. Oh, that was so bad. It was
you guys,
so bad.
The sun is still out.
The sun was out. It was like a crisp 12:30 in the afternoon. They just started their date.
And what's even more sad, like, poor Jason, he's just like la-di-da walking out the temple. I think he like stopped to tie his shoe or something, and then the camera turns to Becca, and you literally see the wind in her face being knocked out, and her instantly regretting like what she just said.
Yep.
Oh god, it was terrible. And so at that moment she leaves Jason and she goes off and does some interviews, and then we kind of get one of those like behind the scene moments where she's off to the side talking with a producer and kind of explains how like the whole day's feeling weird and how she shouldn't have said that, she couldn't picture their future, blah blah blah. Basically she's thinking about Blake this entire time.
The whole time?
The whole time. And it made me think, was her date with Blake literally the night before? Like, did she wake up in Blake's bed and go on this date? Or is there a time?
Really hope not.
Is there? They make it seem like it's like that, but I wonder if there is. Does she get any time in between? This is nuts. If she just finishes sleeping with what's his face and Blake, and then immediately goes on a date with Jason, like who the hell can? She needs time to like get her mind together. So I don't know. They didn't really give us that insight into how long, but clearly Blake is just all the way on her mind, her heart, her soul, her whole being.
Even if it is a whole day, it's
not enough.
After that day with Blake, like, you don't get over that.
No, absolutely not. So, next up, so it's time for the night portion of their date. And Becca, I mean, after a whole day of feeling very odd and weird about him, going into this night portion, I thought she would immediately, like, send him home.
So did I. I didn't think they were going to even eat dinner.
Right. I was very thrown off when she said, you know, I owe it to the relationship to see how far to see if we can get it back on track.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought that was weird.
I thought he was going home. What you mean? You sitting down for dinner? Like, you're still trying with him? I thought it was a done deal after the day. So they sit down. She's gonna truck through this. Poor Jason, literally living on another planet.
Oh my god, he's smitten.
He's talking about, you know, this whole future that he sees with her as a mother and a wife, and
oh my god,
like talking about this whole future that Becca literally cannot picture.
No.
She made one...
She can't even stomach
it. She made one comment about a fucking stone dish that she would see in their hypothetical future and freaked the fuck out. Like... Oh, God. And so, Jason, he's continuing to talk about the family. The family loved her, and it was so good to, you know, speak from his heart for the first time, and blah, 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 blah. As he's saying all of this, Becca, her face is just cold. Like, she's just in her head.
That's what I thought. I thought she left a lot of time for him to talk with very little reaction.
She's in her head the whole time. She's like, fuck, what do I say to this? What do I say to this?
Yeah, because I don't agree.
Because I don't agree. How do I put this in a nice way that you need to go home, like, today?
Yeah.
How does she say this? So, finally, so Jason's doing a lot of talking. Finally, he turns it on her and asks her, so how are you feeling? As soon as he asked that, I was like, you do not want to know, bro.
I know.
You need to take that question back real quick, because it ain't going to end well. Just keep talking. Just keep going. Never turn it back to her. Oh, Lord. So he turns it to her, and she immediately confesses about the moment earlier in the day, that awkward moment. He felt the awkwardness too, but he didn't know the whole story behind it.
Yeah.
And she said, like, she just felt off when she mentioned their future. And then, in true Becca form, she excuses herself from the table.
Again, why?
Another theme of the day. She's always dipping somewhere. I feel like she spends more time excusing herself from Jason than actually spending time with Jason.
You know what? You don't have to do Jason like that.
She did. Oh my god. He's just sitting at this table, waiting in the wings forever.
But does he think that she's doing that with the other guys?
That's
like,
what
you
I'm
know how Blake's
wondering.
concern is like, oh, I wonder if she's like this with the other guys, and the other guys make her feel this way.
Right.
And he's just like, oh yeah, she's just gone for 5 minutes to go think. It's fine.
No.
What?
He has to. He must know. He must know that something's off.
He's gotta.
Has to.
So same thing. She goes off, does a little interview or chats with the producer, and says like, I do see a future with Jason, but I see more with Garrett and Blake, which we already knew this. She went into the whole week saying she's falling in love with him. She's not in love with him, so we already knew that he was, tier 3. So poor Jason's sitting at the table for forever. She finally comes back and says, for the longest time, I could see everything with you. Once she starts speaking in past tense, that's when you know it's over.
Yep, it's done.
She said, I could. That's when his heart just had to drop because it's not ending well.
Yeah.
And she says, like, look, I can't put you through an overnight if it's not 100% there.
Love it.
Now, Jason's a fighter.
Yeah,
he was not going home easy. He was like, we need to push through these boundaries. Don't close the door unless you're really sure. Are you confident you don't see a future with us? And she says, no, I'm not confident. Which was not what I was expecting to hear. I thought she was going to be like, yes.
Me either. I thought she was going to be like, yeah, definitely. What? You've got to go.
Yeah. I think she's trying to this is her way of letting him down easy, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
So she says, no, I'm not confident, but I see it more with the other guys, which doesn't make any sense, but okay, Becca. And Jason, obviously that explanation doesn't make any sense to him, so he's like, I just don't feel comfortable with you saying you might see it with me, but then you have feelings for other, like, what are you trying to say? And she just falls back on, like, I can't put it into words. I know how it feels to be blindsided. I hate to do this to you. Like...
Is this where he said we have so much time left to be had?
Probably. He was saying all the things.
I was sitting there, I was like, boy, you have 10 business days. Not even. I think they have 4, right? Don't they go to the Maldives?
4, yeah.
Which is not far from Thailand.
No, they don't have that much time left. Yeah.
They don't have that much time. I was like, what are you talking about? There's so much time left to be had.
What time? Boy, you got a night left.
You have, and not even, it is the night.
It is the night.
6 hours.
6 hours before she's dipping to go to the next one, so. But he's reaching. He's trying. He's really, he's reaching for anything that he can get. And so, yeah, she kind of, I'm blindsiding you. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. And I feel like Jason handled it in the best way that he could.
Yeah.
That anyone could.
Me too.
Because he could, I mean, this nigga could have flipped the table.
Yeah.
He could have been like, some bullshit. I need an answer. Like, he could have really demanded and really been really upset because he's really being blindsided. Like, this, he had no clue this was about to come. And so, yeah, he took it like a champ, I guess. And pretty much ends saying that I'm rooting for your happiness, which is just a nice, classy, gentlemanly way to bow out gracefully, I guess.
I guess. It's the best he could do. It's fine.
It's the best, yeah. It's really, what else can he really do?
Yeah.
So she walks him out. The whole thing's just sad. You just feel for the guy. I really feel for the guy. He's in the limo. He's like in a state of shock. He's not crying. He hasn't even really registered that like he's going home. Like it's just it's over, and now he's being packed up. Didn't even get the fantasy suite car. Like didn't even make it to the car coming out.
Right.
Didn't even get that opportunity. It sucks. So he's gone. Becca's back in the suite. She's bawling her eyes out. She's, feeling bad that she's, not able to give him a clear explanation. She keeps saying, like, I feel bad I didn't give him an explanation, but she did. I feel like saying that my feelings are stronger for Garrett and Blake, I don't know how to put it into words, but I feel stronger for them. That is an explanation.
Right. I think that's fine.
That's fine.
And that's a good explanation, too.
Right. I feel like Jason is almost wanting, or the other person is almost wanting you to say, like, give me a character flaw, or give me a reason, something that I'm doing wrong that I can maybe fix, but to just hear, like, I just feel better for the other guys, like, that's tough to hear, but that is, I mean, it's the best, what else can she say? Yeah. So, Becca, she's really hard on herself. She says, I did to him what Ari did to me, which, I mean, she blindsided him.
Not really.
That's really, yeah, don't start comparing yourself to that asshole.
Yeah.
And the next morning, same thing. She's just still devastated about how it all went down. And she's also very surprised she's surprised how her doubt for Jason, crept up. In the middle at 12:30 in the afternoon, out of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And, we know that her feelings weren't as strong, and she knows her feelings weren't as strong, but I don't feel like she wasn't expecting that, epiphany moment to, knock her in the face in the way that it did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and to have that one moment happen when it was a joke.
Right.
They weren't even talking seriously. She was like, oh, haha, this in my house. And even just the humorous thought of having an apartment with Jason, she was like, nah, what? No. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's true. It wasn't even a serious moment. That means he really had to go. In that moment, she really... he had to go. So, poor Jason, goodbye.
Yeah.
Next up is Garrett. Kushner, who shows up wearing camo shorts, and this was my get me to Wakanda moment.
Oh, I mean, it's a great one to pick. It's a great one because not only were there camo shorts, I believe there were also flip-flops.
Ew!
The rainbow ones.
What?
Yeah, you know those rainbow flip-flops people be wearing?
No.
He wore them on when he first arrived too. They're tan. And they have a thick strap. Oh, they're just wretched. They are wretched.
That sounds terrible. Tan,
thick
strap and rainbow on it. And then paired that with the camo shorts.
Camo shorts.
Whole thing's off. Yeah, just his image, his mere presence. Well, I was just like, get me some Wakanda. Just, all the way. Just, no. And so for their date, I really liked their date. They were going rafting on bamboo rafts down a river. It was really cool. Also turned out it was some national holiday in Thailand, so you had all these Thai people on the river. They were having a full-on kickback on the river. Mad rafts. It was like a full-on block party all on the river. There's rafts, there's elephants. Elephants are full-on spraying water at each other. It's a fucking festival out here. Looked awesome.
It did.
It looks so cool. So yeah, they're enjoying their time. They eventually sit and have a little chat over some beers. Garrett says that he, in their hometown, he never had gotten that deep with his family before, talking about his feelings, which I don't buy at all.
I have so many questions. My nigga, you had full vows to another woman in front of your friends and family, and you didn't get a emotional connection with your family on that day at the very least?
Right, at the very least. And you had a whole dissolve of a marriage where your family had to allegedly pick you back up and stuff.
Yeah.
And you didn't
the pieces of
have
Garrett.
an emotional thing with them. You can't come to me now with these empty words. I'm dissecting everything that everybody's saying now, and that statement is... No, it just sounds like emptiness. Yeah. You can't come with this after Blake, who is just saying all of the things with all the sincerity. Garrett, sit down. So, time for the night portion of their date. They are sitting by this beautiful little bonfire, and Garrett says that coming into the Bachelorette, he had cold feet initially. Because he was scared about the idea of maybe getting engaged again or getting married again. And Becca's like, okay. And then he just continues the rant about how he has these fears, and he's had some fears throughout the process about getting engaged. And this was my nigga you ain't shit award moment.
Nice.
Because this is not what she wants to hear, my dude.
He's just rambling.
And you're talking, at this time, you need to be reassuring her that you are getting down on one knee in 2 days, that she is the one for you. Read the moment. He's not reading the moment. He's just divulging and venting his own feelings of bullshit that
isn't really gonna make her feel any more sure about you. And
he hasn't said I love you yet.
And he hasn't even said the things yet. So, like, don't come with all this now. It was just stupid. Like, why... Don't bring up any doubt about getting engaged again at this moment.
Right.
Like, are you dumb or are you dumb? Like, which one is it? Side note, I'm just going to continue the bashing of Garrett. Side note.
Oh, okay.
When Garrett talks, it sounds like he's like a third grader. I've said this before. He talks so plainly, such simple sentences.
Honestly, it really is. It really is like pronoun, verb noun.
See
no
the
variance.
third grade chalkboard where the teacher writes like pronoun plus verb plus like adverb plus
Schoolhouse Rock, like, and it's a pronoun and a noun and a verb, like
pronoun verb noun. Yes, he speaks so plainly.
The most we've heard is great and very. That's it. I haven't heard any other words to describe his feelings.
No other adjectives.
Nothing. Nope. No adjectives, no adverbs, none of it.
Oh, I hate hearing him speak. It just...
Me too.
Particularly in comparison to Blake. I can't help but just keep comparing him to Blake, who just puts his words together very intentionally and almost... It's almost like a poetic quality to it. And I know you hate poets. Yeah. Look at your eyes, bro. Your eyes, like, you didn't even notice it. Did a quick little eye roll.
They did? Oh my God, I have to work on that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know if poetic is the right term, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the way Blake puts words together, it's almost it's very romantical, and it feels, you know, there's some, like, stuff behind it.
Yeah.
So Becca, she says to Garrett, you know, Ari, when I was with Ari, again, bringing up Ari, when I was with Ari around this time, Fantasy Suites time, he talked about how he wanted, like, a 50-50 partner, but, and this was some Lauren B shade, that very subtle, but it was there. She said Ari wanted a 50-50 partner, but, you know, he didn't actually really want that. It seemed more like he wanted me to fit into his life. Which is basically little shade to Lauren, who essentially, she's like fit herself into Ari's life.
Oh, yeah.
So, saw that shade, Becca, and we appreciated it.
Any shade towards Lauren, we love
it. So, this is such a mean episode, I feel like.
You know, guys.
We're just done with Lauren, with Garrett, with Becca, to be quite honest.
They brought it up.
That's true. You're going to bring up Ari, we're going to come with the hate.
Yeah.
So anyways, so Becca, you know, she asks him, you know, how do you see our future? And she says that when she talks about this with Ari, she never really got a good answer from Ari.
Yeah.
And doesn't really get a good answer from Garrett. So he says in his plain little way, he's like, yeah, I thought about that. You know, my career, I can go anywhere with my career. I can move to where you move, and, you know, wherever you live, I can move there too. And, you know, I feel so good about you. And he just went off on a whole fucking thing. Never answered the question. How do you see our future? I didn't ask you if you want to move. What?
Also, for me, I feel like as a woman, I would want Garrett to, like, kind of take charge in that way and be like, so I see us moving here because you live here and I live here, and I think we would live the best here, and so we could make a life for ourselves. They have great schools there.
Show some creativity, like,
so some thought
behind it. Take a little charge, like, oh, like, what about moving here, and how about I do this and you do this, and on weekends we can do this, like, some creativity, take charge, come with like, you guys sit in a room most of the time, not with Becca. You sit there with your thoughts. You didn't think about all this stuff before? Like, you should have had an answer prepped and ready to go.
Right.
Going on this long tangent about your career and how you could pick up and move. What? This made no sense. But naturally, Becca's sitting there eating it all up.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. And, you know, in her confessional, she says, oh yeah, he eventually does say, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, P.S. guys.
Literally, if it was anyone else, it'd be like, and then he said, no, not with, no. Oh yeah,
Nope.
And then he mentioned that.
He mentioned that he loved
yeah.
her. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it was cool.
It was cute. So she says in the confessional, he told me he loved me, and it feels right, and he doesn't know I feel the same.
Girl.
Which, okay. Which she said this about Blake. I believe it more with Blake. I feel like.
So do I.
I feel like when I watch Becca, she's saying one thing in the confessionals, but when you watch her with Garrett, I don't feel it.
Me too. And
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know if she no, it can't be, because as we said, she talks like a third grader, so it can't be that she's processing what he's saying.
That he talks like a third grader.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it can't be
that don't
that
take
she's
no
like-
time to process. But yeah, don't you know, like, in the moment, she's looking at him, she's like, oh yeah, And then in the confessional, she's like, oh my god, I love him too, I feel the this and the that, and it's like, it's not connected. It feels like two different things. Versus with Blake, what she says and how she is with Blake in person seems to also match what she says and what she does in the confessionals.
Yeah, definitely.
With Garrett, I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect. I feel like she definitely does have strong feelings, but he's second place.
I also wonder if it was Blake Garrett instead of Blake Jason Garrett, what would happen?
You mean in the order of the...
In the order.
Oh. If it was... Say that again? If it was Blake...
So if it was Blake Garrett, Jason, rather than Blake Jason Garrett.
Right.
What would happen?
Right.
If she had that, like, mad spiritual, deep, crazy monk experience, right? Like, sexually, right? And then went on a date and he was like, you know, I really like you a lot.
We have fun times. I will move my career to you. The pronoun, verb, noun. Yeah, that's true. If this followed up after Blake, it would have been such a stark contrast in her head. But instead, she got a little buffer in between with Jason, who just never had a chance.
Right, so it's easy to follow up.
So it's easy. She used Jason to kind of like recover, essentially, and then she was able to look at Garrett with like fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a really good point. So she's, saying all this stuff in the confessionals, and they head off to their fantasy suite, which was a glamping tent.
And this was my get me to Wakanda moment,
and it
will be until they keep doing this.
I knew you were gonna do this.
Okay? I didn't see one outlet. I didn't see a
outlet
toilet.
for what, Justine? They ain't got no damn phones to charge.
It doesn't matter. I might need one. It doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh.
I can't. You guys, this is not enough glamping for me.
No, and
you guys know Natasha's the traveling, adventurous one.
And you, Miss Glamour, Miss Glamazon over here. Look at I hate you. Your face. Somebody on Twitter reminded us that her fantasy suite with Ari was the fucking tent. You remember?
Yep. But that was a bear tent. That was like a really...
That was a literal tent.
Yeah, there was no tree house.
No.
That was like a tent.
Tent.
With blankets.
It was like in the sand desert or some shit. Lord. But yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be her get me to a moment. I already know. So they have their, night in the tent, and the morning after, Becca says they took leaps in their relationship. And for me, the way she looks at Blake, or the way she looked at Blake the next morning was like next level. Me too. Of that. Garrett, I didn't get any of that. I didn't get it. And it's not even that I just hate Garrett. I didn't see it. Yeah. I didn't see that at all.
I don't see any of the chemistry that she has with Blake with any of the other guys.
No, not at all. I think she really, really likes Garrett, and maybe even a part of her heart might love him, but her connection with with Blake does not compare. Even just the way she looked at him the next morning was there was no comparison there. Also, her goodbye to Garrett was a lot easier than Blake. She was like, deuces, and was like, out. See you later.
Oh my god. She probably can't wait to be by herself.
Yeah. God, back-to-back dates.
Yeah.
And one of which you have to send somebody home. Like, yikes. It's a lot. So she goes on her merry way. We see her in the next scene. She's on a balcony talking about how she's very conflicted between Blake and Garrett. And then suddenly, we see Jason walking in the hotel lobby, talking about how he needs answers and, yada yada, he needs his closure. And so Jason, comes knocking on her door. She's obviously surprised. They sit and have a little chat. And he said, he couldn't leave Thailand without some clarity. And his lip started to quiver.
Aww.
And my heart...
It was that early?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He was on that couch. He was just starting to open up, and that little bottom lip started to do a little tremble. No. And my heart, I felt so bad for this dude. I felt so bad. That was awful. And he just wants answers, and she basically gives him the same explanation. Like,
yeah, I don't know what he's looking for.
Really, I feel like it was abrupt. That's abrupt. To 1 minute think you're in the top 3, you're about to go to fantasy suites, and then suddenly she's like, nah, actually you're going home. And to just get on a plane and go back home, like I would have to stop by and say, like, I need something, even just to see her again. I think is like just even a little bit of closure, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So she gives basically the same explanation and says that, she felt like Ari in that moment. She keeps comparing herself to Ari. She needs to stop doing this.
I know. She's like, that's self-hatred, girl. Stop it.
Yeah, stop. And then she says, like, the worst thing you can say when you're breaking up with someone. You're one of the best guys I've ever met.
Oh, my God. That was horrible.
Becca, that was terrible.
Yeah.
That was really terrible. And it's one of those lines, like, you see the person is sitting there so heartbroken, and so you want to say something to, like, uplift them, but it doesn't uplift them. It just makes them feel even worse about themselves because you're telling them that they're an amazing person, but they're so amazing that you don't want them. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Or you're so amazing, but you're not enough. That's what the other person feels like.
That's what it is. You're telling me I'm amazing, but I'm clearly not amazing enough for you to keep me around. So, terrible. Before leaving, Jason gives her this scrapbook that he made.
Listen, he made? Who made that scrapbook?
The intern number 3. Because whenever they do
art history major.
Right, it was a full-on, like, their summer internship in between college. But yeah, somebody made a scrapbook. He presented it to Becca. And then, when he's leaving, he had to give her this cringy kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
Because he can't kiss her on the lips no more. He ain't in the running. He's gotta go. Ugh, that was so cringe. And yeah, they, Jason's getting more moments of talking in the confessional, blah, blah, blah. This basically was like his Bachelor edits.
Yeah.
His potential, setting him up for the Bachelor potentially. In case, I'm going to go into my theory on Bachelor, but
okay.
Bachelor in Paradise, they still got to see who's going to come up from that.
True.
But they want to set up Jason just in case nobody from Bachelor in Paradise pans out. So this was like his little moment, his little edit. Yeah. And then he'll get another little moment, little edit on Men Tell All. So
Men Tell All, yeah.
His bed is strong, and his bid is starting here. So time for the rose ceremony, which okay, like I hate when they do these like.
I was like, wait,
formalities.
Is someone gonna propose? Like,
I had to think too.
I was so confused.
I was like, rose ceremony, what? But then she walked up in that little red
that little
outfit, and I was like, no, this ain't the final
Francesca's.
episode. Yeah. Dress for Francesca's. I love Francesca dresses. They have some cute little things. Too. Yeah.
Yeah. But that wasn't more than $52.50.
Right. So that's also the final thing. So time for the rose ceremony. Chris Harrison's there obviously to greet them. Blake comes up first. He's doubting. he's starting to doubt himself that maybe it is too good to be true. Maybe I am too easy with her. Because everything has been so easy breezy, so hunky dory between the two of them. Maybe this is like something's off. Garrett comes up, you know, alls I want is her.
God.
Alls I want is her.
Alls I want is her. Is this where he said there's no plan B?
I don't know. I don't be listening to what he said. What?
I was like, nigga, no shit, there's no plan B. You've been dating this one girl for 6 weeks. What else would be the plan B? What are you saying?
Yeah. I don't know what he be trying to get at half the time. He's putting words together. And yeah, so all I want is her, and then we kind of see him in his confessional, and he's, you know, starting to tear up, talking about his feelings, and in that moment watching him, I literally felt absolutely nothing.
No, nothing
I'm like,
at all.
do I have a heart of just pure ice, or I just don't? I feel nothing for Garrett. He's been dead to me since the whole scandal broke. He's been dead to me.
Yeah.
And I can't even, it's really, I mean, he's put himself in this position, but it really shows you how, like, when the real life comes into The Bachelor, how it really taints the way you watch the show. And like, he just hasn't had a chance with us at all. Blake is awesome, but we probably love Blake even exponentially more because of Garrett being, you know, a piece of shit. So yeah. So both Blake and Garrett are standing there awkwardly, you know, wondering if Jason's coming. Garrett turns to Blake and says something like, "Oh my, is Jason here? Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
Blake literally looked at Garrett like, "Nigga, I'm not trying to talk to you right now."
What? I'm not even trying to look your way.
I don't want to look your way. I'm trying to pretend like you're not even here, and you trying to breathe down my neck talking about where's Jason. We're not doing this.
Oh my God.
Oh, the way he looked at him, I was like, "Thank you, Blake. This is what I needed." So this is the final rose ceremony. Becca comes up. She announces that Jason, you know, he had to kick rocks. And she awards the final roses to the guys. And yeah, they hug it out. And she announces that...
Oh, wait.
What?
But before they do that, Garrett gives a toast.
Oh, see, I literally don't even catch the things. I totally missed that. What? I glazed right over it. There was a toast? What happened?
Yeah, there was a toast.
Okay.
Garrett gave a toast, which was my nigga, you ain't shit moment.
Okay,
Because he said that, here's a toast to Becca for giving me the extra time that I needed.
What does that mean?
Like, why would you say that in front of Blake? Like,
what does that even mean,
overnight?
Though?
I think he meant the overnight.
But they all got overnight.
No, not Jason.
I mean, not Jason, but Jason ain't here. He's talking about him and Blake. He's saying something like it's supposed to be like profound. Like, I got extra bonus time. No, nigga, we got the same amount of time. Sorry, what are you gonna say?
No, exactly, though. Exactly. Like, why did you have to say in front of him, like, oh yeah, like I hit that too.
Oh,
like, what?
God, yeah.
Oh,
like, God, Blake is
just
trying to block out everything about you. He's trying to block out.
Yeah.
Like, and then Garrett's the complete opposite. He's like, so how about that fantasy suite? Like, no one is trying to kiki with you. No, shut up. No. Pretend I'm not here either. Like, oh my God. So yeah, so that was the toast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that was it.
And so yeah, and then Becca announces that. So that was a little unclear. So they're going to the Maldives next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then her family.
This too.
She's meeting the family there.
I guess the family's going to the Maldives. I guess she like shoved in a trip for the family.
Look, ABC don't have a lot of budget here, so they can't. They're like, we gotta figure this out. But wait, that's even more expensive. Because I'm thinking maybe they don't have the money to fly them back to America to then fly them back out to Maldives. But instead they're gonna fly out her whole family to the Maldives.
I wonder if that's cheaper though than having them propose in like a really nice spot and they just all are together. Like she's gonna have her family there for the proposal and all that stuff, so that'll be nice.
It's cute. Okay, that's actually nice then. It just sucks they don't get to see her home. That's a nice little component. Yeah.
And I wonder about Uncle Gary flying with his leg.
Oh no, he might have to Skype in. He might have to Skype in. Uncle Gary don't play. I can see him saying, "Nope, not getting on that flight. Nope." With his little cane, knocking his cane on the ground, not getting on the flight. Nope. I'll do a little video conference with Uncle Gary. And that was the episode, guys.
That was it.
We did get some previews, though. So next week is Men Tell All.
Right.
And they just showed kind of like a highlights reel of all the drama that happened over the season.
Yeah, they didn't show any of the mental actual stuff.
Because they're probably filming it like this week. So
yeah,
they don't have anything prepared yet. But I'm excited for that. We'll get a lot of drama to be hashed. I'm a little mad that Garrett is in the bottom or in the top 2, so we won't get to.
So he's not gonna be.
He's not gonna be there to get chewed the fuck out by everybody on the stage. But I wonder if they'll address it though. I wonder if they'll address Garrett's nonsense or.
I wonder what they're going to address because the issues this season were so serious.
All over the place.
Yeah, like Lincoln. Is Lincoln gonna be there? Are they gonna talk about that?
Oh God, I forgot about Lincoln and his fucking sexual assault. Colton being the virgin, Garrett being a bigot,
Jean Blanc having a perfumery,
and telling Becca some nonsense, before getting kicked off. Yeah, there's a lot. Chris R, Gospel Chris, and his
Gospel Chris going nuts.
Full on meltdown. So there's a lot of stuff. So we'll see what they choose to dissect. And then we got a quick preview of the finale, them in the Maldives, and we see Becca with her mother having a little heart-to-heart on the couch.
Yeah.
And her mom's just trying to console her because she's so torn, apparently, which, girl, is not that hard. Pick Blake.
My thing is, I really want the mom to come in and be like, Garrett is exactly like Ross. Break up with him now.
Oh my God, yes.
Because that's what she needs to hear from her mom.
But is the mom going to be able to get all that insight from this one little sit-down dinner that she has with Garrett? I don't know.
Absolutely. There's not that much to Garrett.
That's true. He's very simple.
Just like there wasn't that much to Ross.
This is true. This is true. If her mom is is an insightful mother with a mother's eye or whatever you want to call it. Hopefully she reads into Garrett's bullshit and realizes that this is literally Ross 2.0. So
yeah.
Oh jeez. So yeah, she's sitting with her mom, and then we see Becca in her final gown, and she's in some bushes crying,
oh my God,
saying, "I feel like a monster."
Yeah.
And that's all we got.
That's it.
Predictions.
Depends on that family, man. If that family likes Garrett, then Garrett's winning.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like Blake wins. There's no way Blake can't win.
Yeah.
But the thing...
Unless she doesn't trust herself.
Unless she pulls kind of like a Ari. Because Ari... Yeah. The way Ari looked at Lauren B the whole season, it was like, there's no way that she can't win. Yeah. Nobody understood their connection, but everyone saw the way he looked at her. And then when he chose Becca, it was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And so if she... Yeah, I feel like if she pulls a Ari, it would be her not trusting her feelings with Blake. Because everyone sees, at least I see, this intense connection with Blake. And maybe at the last minute she switches it up and is like, no, I'm going to go with Garrett.
Yeah, like he's too perfect. There's nothing wrong with him, no.
No, oh God. I really feel in my heart she's going to pick Blake. I feel it. I feel it in my core. Thoughts on the next Bachelor. So I have some theories.
Okay, let's hear them.
So, side note. Chris Harrison did an interview. I listened to this yesterday with Caitlin Bristow. She has her own little podcast. She did an interview with Chris Harrison. It's a 2-part episode. It's fucking long as shit. They're each like 2 hour long. I listened to like 40 minutes and then read like the recap on Reddit or whatever. But I did listen to Chris Harrison talk about how The Bachelor, he gave his perspective and just talked real raw. He said, The Bachelor is business. Wow. Bachelor Nation is a business. They are there to make money. I think he quote said, "I'm there to send my kids to school." Like, whoa. He really put it into perspective. Like, we're here to make money, and that's it. He said also, in so few words, like, they're not there to fulfill a responsibility to society or anything. Like, they're really there they're there to get eyeballs on screen and to sell ads.
Yeah.
Like, he really was like, this is what it is, plain and simple. Which, if you decode that, he's basically saying, like, they ain't never gonna be a bachelor of color because it's not gonna make money for them.
Oh no.
I have to go back and listen to it, but he said something along the lines like, we are not here to serve a responsibility to some greater something. It was something in that way. And so, yeah, the next bachelor has to be someone who's going to make the money. This is how they think.
Right.
That's it. This is how they think. Who is going to give us the best ratings, the most eyeballs on screen every Monday, sell the most ads, do the most licensing deals and all kind of foolishness. And so based on that, in my heart, of course, I want it to be, Venmo John. I want it to be fucking Eric, like any person with just, a little bit of melanin in their skin. Just a tinge. But, they need to make money. So Kiarra, she said my first thought, Colton. To have the Virgin Bachelor, this is just a gold mine for ABC. So I think he's the front runner for Bachelor. It's going to depend on how Bachelor in Paradise pans out. Yeah. Basically. My second theory, our husband, Grocery Store Joe.
I just got chills up my spine.
Oh. So Grocery Store Joe currently has 62,000 followers on Instagram.
What?
Which is not that much, but he's only going to get more on Bachelor in Paradise. Provided he gets a really good edit on Bachelor in Paradise, he could be, I think, second choice for The Bachelor.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Also, 62,000 for somebody who's eliminated the first night is really good.
That's pretty good, yeah. And it's only going to get bigger.
Yep.
Provided he doesn't turn out to be a fucking dickwad, like, on Paradise. We'll have to see. Yeah. But those are my just long-term predictions.
Nice.
So, yeah. Is that it? We're at 2 hours, all right?
2 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh, my God. All right, that's the episode, guys.
That's it. Yo.
It was a good one. We'll be here next week. It's time for the Men Tell All. We're going to rehash all the drama. And really intrigued to see if they talk about the hard stuff. Are they going to talk about Lincoln being a fucking
sex offender?
A convicted sex offender? Are they going to talk about it? I need to know. Next week, we'll see. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, rate, review, subscribe, all the things.
All that.
I'm tired. It's 2:00 in the morning. I gotta go to bed.
Yep. We gotta go. Love you
guys.
Bye. Bye.